Welcome, everyone. My name is Yuri Sokolov. I'm a head of a manual QA course here at Careerist. Welcome to our lesson about bug reporting. So today I'll introduce you to the right way of write bug reports. So how do we write them and how do we write a great bug reports? Because that's important in our profession. So let's start with what is a bug report. So a bug report is a document which includes all the necessary information about the software error and the conditions under which it is reproducible. So why do QA engineers need to write bug reports is because this is our way of communicating an issue to everyone else in the company. Most likely, these bug reports will be then sent to developers because remember, QA engineers, we don't really fix issues. Our job is to identify and analyze an issue, and then we have to be able to create a sensible bug report and then send it to our developers because developers are going to be the ones looking at it, triaging it, and fixing the issue, addressing the bug reports. Okay, so let's talk about the bug report structure. Important thing that you need to understand, different companies may have slightly different approaches to writing bug reports. So during our course here, we cover a software called Jira. Jira, it's a pretty powerful tool to track and manage tasks, bugs, issues, development, project managing, all that stuff. And Jira has its own way to basically structure bug reports. In other companies, they may use other bug tracking systems. However, they will all have pretty much same components. They will all follow very similar structure. Okay, it might be slightly different, but the all the main components will still be there. So let's go over the bug report structure here in Jira, and I will tell you if it corresponds to any other system out there. So bug title, it's a short summary of what went wrong and where did it happen. It's a bug title. It's called summary in Jira, but it is present pretty much in any other system out there. Bug ID, it's the locator, it's the identifier of a bug report. It is assigned automatically by bug tracking system. In many bug tracking systems that I worked with, it was done automatically. You should not worry about it at all. Now, severity and priority. So severity describes how severe is an impact of this error onto the system. Okay. Priority, however, it specifies in which order should the problem be fixed. For example, how soon. In some companies, severity and priority, it kind of like means the same thing because if you think about it, the more severe an issue is, the faster we want it to get fixed. So that means that priority is going to be higher. Okay. But in general, in some cases, there are still few systems that use different fields like severity and priority. But you need to understand the difference. And here's the great example of how you can explain it. It may be asked during the interview. So these are the terminology. These are the fields that you need to learn. You need to understand. So assignees assignee is a person who's currently working on the bug. In Jira, we can assign it manually or it can be left unassigned. You will know how to assign and whom to assign to based on the company you work at. So when you start working at the company, you look at their bug ticket system and they will explain how their process works. It is actually pretty specific to the company. In some companies, you don't really need to have to worry about it. In other companies, you will need to be aware of who's going to be in charge of what. So you will be pointing to the right person when you create a bug report. Reported by, it's the name of a person who reported the bug. It is by default is your account, your name. Status. So status shows what's going on with the ticket. At any point of time, you can log into the system. For example, Jira, pop up the bug ticket and see what's going on. Is it in progress, for example? So the status may say in progress, means that someone is working on it. It may be a new, right? Or it means that nobody looked at the ticket yet. It may say something like fixed or verified. Again, status system varies from company to company, but the concept pretty much stays the same. It is really straightforward. There's nothing to worry about it. Okay. Environment details. So all information about the system that used during the testing or used during creation of that ticket. For example, if you find a bug on mobile systems, right, on mobile devices, you test it with Android 10, and for example, application crashes. You retest with Android 8, still crashes, and you test with Android 11, it doesn't crash. So those findings you can put into this particular field under the environment details in your bug report. It is very useful because developers will then have a better idea, better understanding of what went wrong, where did it go wrong, and what is the cause. Steps to reproduce is basically a list of steps how you get to that state, faulty state. Keep in mind, when you create a bug report, don't assume that every employee, every developer knows exactly how application behaves, how software behaves. Write it so that it will be clear, understood by anyone. Don't just assume they know application as good as you do. They may have a new employee, they may have a new developer coming in. So they will look at the tickets. They may not know the terminology, names of your application. So write it down the way that it could be understood by anyone, even the person who never looked and never touched this application, this software before. This is how you write a really good bug report. Expected result, it is an explanation of what we expect to see in case there is no bug. So if everything works exactly like we expect, and let me remind you that a bug is basically mismatch between expected and actual result. So what we expect to see and what we actually see. And this needs to be really, really well defined and explained in your bug report. So expected result, it's an explanation of what we expect to see. For example, I click this button and it takes me to the page X. An actual result, I click this button and it takes me to the page Z. There's a clear mismatch between what we expect and what we actually see when we perform certain function. So that needs to be outlined. Now, very important thing. It's really important. Please follow this guide, follow this practice as often as you can. Use the rule of 3 W's to write better bug reports. So what is the rule of 3 W's? Understanding using the rule of 3 W's will help you better analyze and document software errors. 3 W's. First, what happened? You need to, before you even start writing bug report, before when you test, you see there's something is off, you potentially see the problem. So you need to analyze in your head what happened, what went wrong, okay? Then you need to analyze and come up with an answer. Where did it happen? Where inside your application, where in the location, your website, positioning, everything else, okay? The third W is when or under which circumstances. So when you do something. So issue happens on the page when you do something, when you click this button or when you, I don't know, upload an image or something like that, okay? Before you even start writing bug report, analyze an issue, go over these 3 W's in your head, and it's going to be much, much clearer, much better for you to understand what is the problem and how would you describe it. Because essentially, after you locate the problem, your job is to present it. Your job is to document it. And this rule will help you to better document all your findings. Now let's talk about the bug report titles. Bug report titles are important because, for example, the way it usually works in the companies, there's a process called bug triage. And usually there are a few team members, they come in together, there's a meeting set up, and they go through the list of bugs that were filed, for example, during this week. And as you can imagine, it can be, somewhere between 10 to 50 to 100, depends on the size of your company, size of your product. It can be a lot. So in their presentation, they will only see bug titles. Before we go into expand and see the details, they will only see the bug titles. That's why bug title, correct bug title, proper bug title is 80% of a success of a right bug report, right? So ideally, a person who reads a bug title, 80% should be filled in on all the details of what went wrong. They should understand it. They should not be confused after reading the bug title. That's why let's go over the details of bad and good examples of the bug titles. First, I'll read bad examples, then good examples. So bad examples. Can't upload a photo. This title does not follow the rule of 3Ws. It doesn't point to location where it happened. It doesn't point to conditions or like under which circumstances it happens. It's not full. It is confusing. Error message, upload not working. Again, so we can say that there's some error message we see, upload not working. Where does not it work? We don't know. Under which circumstances, we also don't know. Profile page doesn't work. It's not clear. Again, we have an error scenario. Now let's move to the good examples. We have an error scenario. So let's say we have a social media app with the profile page where user can upload a profile picture. So let's say the page has buttons select and upload. And we have a problem that there's an error message shows up after uploading attempt. This is a scenario which is pretty common. You'll see things like that all the time. So how can we follow the rule of 3Ws and create a bug report title that which basically explains, provide all the necessary information to our engineers? Let's say, so unable to upload an image on the user profile page. We explained what went wrong. We provided the location. Okay. Attempt to upload an image on the profile page results in error message. Same thing. You can always rephrase your bug report titles, and you can use your own creativity and your skills to explain things the way you think are going to be easily understood. However, just keep in mind that it should explain what the problem is, where did it go wrong, under which circumstances. Okay. So another way of how we can write titles, we can sometimes put essential necessary information into the square brackets. I've seen it's been done in a few companies. If you join a company and you basically do your research, when you check other bug reports, they've been created by QA engineers. So you can see that's a standard that they may use. You can use it as well. So for example, we would put the location, where did it happen, in the square brackets first. So maybe there's a department that is responsible for that particular page. Maybe it's a developer that's specifically hired to design that profile page and build it. So that will basically show him that that the issue happened on profile page. And then we have error message is shown when trying to upload a photo. Again, clear explanation of an issue. More examples of good bug report titles. The standard you should follow at your work. So product image overlaps description after adding a product to the shopping cart. Again, what went wrong, where did it go wrong, under which circumstances. It's well written. Video stops playing after changing resolution quality in settings. Login button is functionless on the home page. iOS 15, for example, sometimes you may have issues that are very specific to certain environment. So, for example, you're working for a more software development company that develops mobile applications, and you test software, and it crashes on the device with iOS version 15, but doesn't crash anywhere else. So in this case, you can definitely outline it in the title because that's important, and that's basically what gives it away. Okay, iOS 15 application crashes at launch. Clicking the zoom in button breaks text formatting on the catalog page. Again, very good example of an issue, the location, what went wrong, where did it go wrong, and so on. Okay, so now let's talk about the bug reporting workflow. What is the process of looking for bugs, looking for issues, and what do we do when we find them? So first, when you start working as a QA engineer, first you need to basically test the software. Then you need to identify potential software bug, which you will do a lot. Use the rule of 3 Ws will help you right when you see something is off, something doesn't work the way you expect it to work. Apply the rule of 3 Ws, analyze what happened, where did it happen, under which circumstances. Then you need to make sure that the software version that you're using and the test environment are correct. Sometimes, and it happens a lot actually, especially when we have to install versions of an application we test on our test devices. So let's say you're working for a mobile development company that develops mobile applications. You will have like, I don't know, 10 devices on your desk, different smartphones, iPads, whatever. And you will be installing different software. And your software is going to be pointing to different environments, which we'll cover later in the course. But basically, sometimes you see a bug, you see a problem, and then you realize, oh, wait, so my device has a version installed that was from yesterday. In this case, obviously, the bug may not be there because we always test on the latest, on the right, correct software version in the environment. And when you join the company, don't worry, they will explain all the processes to you when you join. So you won't have to guess. All the setups, QA environments, everything's going to be explained to you. It's not going to be rocket science. But the fact that sometimes we forget that we need to always check the version that we test, update it, keep our devices updated as well. So we sometimes find issues that are actually no longer there, but we think, oh, you know what, I see a bug, I see a crash. Let me just quickly jump in and file a bug report. No, first, just make sure it's a bug, okay? Which brings me to the next point. When you see an issue happening, for example, I don't know, crash happens when you click on the button and the application crashes. Try reproducing it again. And on top of it, reproduce it on other systems. For example, let's say you're testing a website and there's a button, when you click on it, it doesn't work, or it's, breaks the page or something like that. Before filing the bug, go to a different browser. So you test it on Chrome, then go to, let's say, I don't know, Safari, go to Mozilla, whatever. You will also have a list of browsers you can retest. Try to reproduce it again. See if it works, if it basically breaks the same way on other browsers. Same goes for mobile applications. Let's say you're testing an iPhone application. You're testing it on iPhone 10, whatever, with a certain iOS installed, and it breaks. Try to do the same thing using iPad or using another iPhone, maybe with an older or operating system or newer operating system. See if it basically crashes the same way. In most cases, bugs are happening on across all the platforms, across all the systems if it's there. But in some cases, you may again see bug happening on iOS 15, but when you retest same thing on iOS 14, it's not there. It means that it's OS specific, which is important for you to note. Collect attachments, write down and submit bug report. After all these actions, after all these findings, you need to capture screenshots, videos, if that's required, system logs maybe, and then basically outline everything within a bug report. Now, let's talk about the bug life cycle. We briefly touched the subject during our lessons, but let's just go over this again. So the process goes like this. First, when you create a bug report, or whoever creates bug report, the status of this bug is new. It's never been looked by anyone. It's not even triaged yet, meaning that maybe it's not even a bug. Maybe it is a bug. Maybe something is off. So first, the status is new. Then during this transition, someone will look into this. So usually, again, which is called the bug triage, either developers, QA managers, product managers, project managers, anyone can do this. They will look at this bug report and they say, okay, so we think it's a real issue. And then they will assign it to developer. In some cases, they may say, well, you know what, this is not a bug. It's how it's supposed to work. We just forgot to update requirements. Or for example, they will say that, oh, you know what, QA engineer forgot to do something. It's not the right way of filing bug reports, whatever. So they may close it or resolve it or send for additional information. Also happens quite a lot. After the bug is assigned, someone will work on it. So developers, in our case, mostly, they will do some code changes. After they'll do some code changes, they will usually change the status to resolved, and then you will be able to test the new, they will assign it back to you, back to QA engineer who filed it, mostly. And you will be able to test the new version, this build number, the updated build number, that developers will somehow provide to you. After you do your second round of testing, you say, okay, maybe it's closed. I cannot reproduce it. It's fine. So you close it, change it to close. Or maybe you can still reproduce it under certain circumstances. So you reopen the ticket and it goes back to the same cycle, the same loop, right? It goes back to developer. And this loop continues until you say, okay, I tested everything. It's not broken anymore. It's fixed. So few things that you need to understand. Additional recommendations that will help you to write great bug reports. So first, is it a bug or a feature? Do your research first. So especially when you join, you just join the company as a new QA engineer, your best bet would be to go and see to check their task management system, bug tracking system, to see how other QA engineers file their bug report. It's not only will give you understanding of their structure of their bug reports and the way they write them, but also what issues are already been filed, what are existing bugs, what are previous bugs, past bugs. So you will have a better understanding of how to do your job better. Another thing is you need to obviously, sometimes when you're not sure if it's a bug or if it's just the way it's supposed to work, we always say that, okay, documentation is the key. We rely on documentation. But in my experience, in most cases, documentation is very limited. So we have to basically figure out for ourselves if it's a bug or if it's not a bug. You can always talk to your colleagues, go to your coworker that sits right next to you, go to your manager and say, hey, do you think it's a bug? Or maybe because maybe they've been longer with this company than you are, and they're going to have better understanding what went wrong. You can go to product people, you can go to software developers. If, let's say, your QA peers are not sure, you can definitely go to software engineer, say, hey, well, can you look at this thing? Like, I have this problem. What do you think, it's a bug or not? So do your research first. Don't just file bug report instantly. Contemplate a bit on it, okay? So learn to be concise. This is not an essay. It's true, guys. So bug reports are not essays. We don't have to put 20 sentences there to explain a simple issue. Try to when you create a bug title, when you create the description, just be short, self-explanatory, so that it's going to be pretty clear to anyone who reads it, that they're not going to spend 20 minutes to read all the information in bug report. What's important? You need to include as much useful information about the issue as possible. Again, because it is important for software engineers. They are going to be the ones looking at your bug report. And it's really important for them to have as much information as possible in order to faster analyze the problem and come up with a solution. So don't be lazy. If you need to create a screenshot or video recording that will better show and better illustrate of what went wrong, please do this. Okay. Number 4, submit one bug report per one observed issue. That is golden standard. That's how we should go. If you see a broken image, submit broken image report. If you see, I don't know, page not loading, submit separate report for that page. There are exceptions in certain cases. For example, you test a web page and let's say all the icons in the menu are broken. So you can understand that it's probably the same cause, right? So you'd create one bug report saying, oh, we have a menu and none of the icons are loaded within that menu. Makes sense. You don't have to create 12 different bug reports because of different menu items, right? Same thing goes for, let's say, typos or like translation issues. You test the web page and it has all these typos and misspellings. Because it's same cause, same similar issue, same type of an issue, just create one bug report per the whole occurrence. Number 5, outline clear distinction between expected and actual behavior. As I already explained, in our case, a bug, it's a mismatch between expected and actual behavior. So you need to be clear in why doesn't it work the way we expect it to work, or like what we expect, what we see. Be clear on that. Utilize precondition field to minimize number of steps. That is true. Similar to how we write test cases, we use precondition to shorten the list of steps to reproduce, steps to follow. Same way we can use precondition when we write bug reports. For example, if a bug happens for a registered user, instead of putting the registration process into steps, just put it in precondition, say, well, you need to have registered user or logged in user, or the opposite, say bug happens only, you need to be logged out user. Okay, it will save you space, it will save everyone's time reading it. Most important, bug reports should be written clearly and understood by anyone, and I cannot stress this enough, by anyone, because bug reports are visible to anyone in the company. It can be CEO, can be designer, can be support engineer, and the way you write it, anyone should be able to understand your bug reports, because you never know who may look at these bug reports. It may be a designer, may be assigned to designer first, and then it may be assigned to engineer, maybe assigned for tech support, and then to engineer. So when you create your bug report, write it so that anyone can understand it. Okay? All right, so now let's move on to our Jira. So right now I will demonstrate an example of a good bug report and bad bug report in Jira. And how does it look like? How does it appear in the actual Jira system? So first, let's take a look at this testing website that we have. So we have an e-commerce website with a button that says Shop Now here. And when we click on it, nothing happens. Yeah, so we have a bug. We have a potential issue that we need to document. So let's first look at the bad example of a bug report. Incomplete, not great, you know? All right, so this is how it will look like in Jira system. And as you will get your access to Jira, feel free to go and practice creating bug reports, looking at the fields. Jira has actually pretty decent documentation as you go. So you can learn about the Jira structure when you use Jira as well. So let's start from the top. Let's look at the title. This is the title. It says button doesn't work. Button doesn't work. Second sentence, can't click shop now. So again, which button doesn't work? You can't click. What does it mean? Shop now. Okay, it's not great. It's confusing. It's really confusing. Let's take a look at the description. Steps. We have click button, shop now. All right. Imagine you're a person that never been to this website, person that never used it. You obviously will have more questions than answers after reading this list of steps. Result. Okay, doesn't work. What doesn't work? Who knows, right? What should we expect? Also, nobody knows. Environment, Windows 10. Assuming we're testing a website, explanation of our Windows system or operating system has very little impact or value to an issue because it's a issue with the website, right? Let's move to the okay. Let's see here. Priority lowest. Priority lowest. Again, how quick we need to get it fixed, like how severe it is. See, in Jira, instead of severity and priority, they just have priority. They just say, okay, just combine these two and say how severe it is, how quickly do we need it to fix. We need to analyze the problem before. So let's assume we are the customers. We are the customers that come in to shop at this website. We have this big banner right on the home page, and there's a call to action that says shop now. I want to click on it and go to a page where I can shop, spend my money, company will make revenue, everyone gets paid. Brilliant. So if something like that doesn't work, what priority do you think it is? This person put it at the lowest. It means that we don't really care about. In most companies, tickets with priority like lowest are not even gonna get fixed. They just get pushed away. Nobody will look at those tickets. Okay. Again, what else do we see or actually do not see here? We don't see any attachments. So it's an issue that happens on the web page, and we can clearly illustrate it with a screenshot, and it's not there. Nothing is here. So this example of a bad bug report. Now let's take a look at the bug report for the same issue, but from a better point of view. Okay. So we have a title. Shop Now button is functionless when clicked from the home page. Again, follows 3 W's. We have an issue. So button is functionless. Under which circumstances when clicked? Location, home page. Let's look at the description. Steps to reproduce. Step number 1, open the home page, and we provided a link. Yeah. Step number 2, click the Shop Now button in the center of the main screen. So we provided the second step, click on the button, where does it located, and so on. Expected result. So what do we expect to see? Clicking Shop Now button should take user to the catalog page. It is what we expect to see. There's a clear explanation for the what went wrong. I'm sorry, what we expect. Actual result, clicking button. See, even here the bug report. Actual result, clicking Shop Now button, we can say does not take user to catalog page. Yeah. Or we can say the button is functionless, or the button is unresponsive, or so on. Okay. Now, final thing, what we can do, and it's sometimes it's done. Sometimes QA engineers put it, sometimes they don't. Some companies they ask for it every time. Some companies they don't. Repro rate. So repro rate means how many times you were able to reproduce it. In most cases, when you see a bug, it's 100% reproduction rate. So when you basically click on this button 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in 5 out of 5 times it didn't work, it's 100% repro rate. Or you can say 5 out of 5. It doesn't matter. It means the same thing. It's helpful again to better understand the priority because, for example, if you would say clicked on this button 3 times and it didn't work, then you clicked on it and it did work, and then you clicked it another 3 times, it didn't work or did work. So basically your repro rate would have said something like 1 out of 7. Yeah. And with that repro rate, it means that severe, it's not that severe, right? So it doesn't happen all the time. And this may relate to our priority or severity. So it's information also important for developers. Environment information. So a person tested on Chrome browser, tested on Safari browser. It means it's happening. It's reproducible on Chrome browser, Safari browser, and they provided the app version, the build version, whatever they were testing. Again, this information is going to be disclosed to you by the developers when you will be working for a specific company. We have a screenshot. So a person attached a screenshot. Let's take a look. Yes, this is the problem. We can say this is the button, shop now. It makes sense. We can also check the priority. Okay, so priority high. I agree with this priority assessment. It is high because when a person is unable to shop, it means they are unable to basically pay for the purchases, complete the purchasing process, it means that our company is losing money, and it's not good. It needs to be addressed as soon as possible. So these are the general rules of how bug reports should be written, how they are assessed, how they are triaged by people who work in the company, and why it's important to create great bug reports. Imagine yourself being a software developer, and if you're presented with the previous version of a bug report, you'll be clueless. You would have more questions than answers. Opposite, you are presented with something like this. Everything is clear, everything straightforward. It is self-explanatory. So that's what we need to aim for, and hopefully this particular lesson will benefit all of you in your future careers. Thank you very much.